Have you ever wondered why some people's money seems to grow on its own, while yours barely lasts until the end of the month? I've wondered too. For years, I thought the problem was my salary. But the truth is, the problem was my system. In this video, I'll show you the 3 phases of personal finance that completely transformed my life, from debt to financial freedom. I'll also give you real-life examples, clear breakdowns, and the step-by-step process I use to make money work for me. If you want to get out of your struggles, build a solid foundation, and reach a point where your money grows on its own, stay with me until the end. Take advantage now and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment saying which phase you're in today. Let's walk this path together. At 26, I was earning decently, but I never saw the money. The salary came in, the bills went out, and I was counting the days until the next paycheck. When I tried to save something, an emergency would pop up. By the time I realized it, I had already paid over $8,000 in credit card debt, and I was only paying interest just to survive. That's when I decided to change. I started studying personal finance and discovered something that changed everything. The path to financial freedom is divided into phases, like a video game. You don't start by investing in stocks or real estate. You start with principles grounded in reality, and you rise over time. These 3 phases are like steps that anyone can climb with planning, patience, and discipline. And to illustrate it better, I'll use the example of Raphael, an ordinary guy who lived through it all and came out the other side with a completely different life. Now, let's go to the first phase, survival. Phase 1. Survival. This is a phase where almost everyone starts. Survival is a stage of struggle and among anxiety, and constantly trying to keep the bills paid on time. Here, money is never enough. In fact, sometimes it's not enough to cover everything. And the worst part? Many people spend their entire lives trapped in this cycle. It was during this phase that I met Raphael. He was 23 years old, working as a salesman in an electronics store, earning $2,400 per month. He paid taxes, helped his parents with $300, and had a $5,000 car loan that kept growing due to interest. The first step in this phase was painful but necessary, sitting down and facing reality. Raphael made a simple spreadsheet with everything he earned and everything he spent. That's when he realized that $800 of his salary was going to delivery and invisible small expenses. He cut everything non-essential. He stopped food deliveries and shared an apartment with a friend, saving $400. He canceled credit cards and renegotiated his debt into 12 fixed installments of $500 with much lower interest. With these changes, he managed to create a small surplus of $300 per month. Maybe not much, but just what he needed to get out of the hole. Survival isn't about getting rich. It's about being able to breathe again. The goal here isn't saving. It's stopping the bleeding. And that foundation needs 3 pillars: expense control, debt elimination, and habit creation. Raphael tracked every expense, avoided impulse purchases, and used only debit. After 14 months, he had eliminated all his debts. And then, for the first time in his life, he felt peace when he saw his account balance at the end of the month. That was a sign. He was ready to move to the next phase. Now, let's move to the phase that changes everything. Stability. Phase 2. Stability. When you move past the survival phase, something changes inside you. Fear starts to give way to confidence. You realize that with control and strategy, money can finally start working for you. It's time for stability. Raphael reached this phase at 25 years old, debt-free, and still earning a modest income. But now, he had clarity, control, and most importantly, discipline. The first thing he did was open a separate account just for an emergency fund. Every month, he saved $300. In less than a year, he had accumulated $3,600. That was enough to cover 3 months of basic expenses. With that fund built, Raphael moved on to the second step, learning how to invest. Nothing complicated at first. He started by investing $200 a month. The income was low, but the goal was to understand how money behaved outside of an emergency account. Little by little, he gained confidence. He studied emergency funds and started diversifying. He began investing $500 per month across treasury bonds, funds, and stable investments. By the end of the second year in this phase, he had invested $12,000 and saved another $5,000 in his emergency fund. Stability is the phase where you learn to live below your means. Raphael was now earning $2,800, but he lived as if he earned $2,000. He didn't do it out of obligation, but out of intelligence, because he knew that every euro invested today would be a brick in tomorrow's house of freedom. He also started thinking about the future. He created a plan with medium-term goals. Change jobs, increase his income, invest in knowledge. And he did it. He studied digital marketing at night. And 2 years later, he landed a new job earning $4,500. Here's the key to this phase. Don't increase your lifestyle just because your income increases. Raphael kept the same habits. Now he was investing $1,200 per month and saving $300. By age 29, he had accumulated over $50,000 with a solid financial routine. Stability is what separates those who merely survive from those who start building. Here, you learn to make money grow slowly but consistently. And when that foundation is solid, you're ready for the next level, freedom. And that's what we'll talk about now. Phase 3. Freedom is when money stops being a burden and becomes an ally. It's when you no longer work out necessity, but by choice. When your investments generate enough income to cover your lifestyle and more. But this phase doesn't happen overnight. It's built on everything you've done before. Raphael reached this phase at 35. He already had a solid foundation, a well-defined investment routine, and an unshakable mindset. He was investing $2,000 per month with a well-diversified portfolio. Fixed income, mutual funds, stocks, and even a small digital business generating $1,500 a month. His investments totaled over $250,000 with an annual return of about 10%. That meant $25,000 per year coming into his account, doing nothing. An annual salary earned just by letting his money work for him. But Raphael didn't stop there. He knew that time was his greatest ally. He ran a simulation. If he continued investing the same $2,000 per month, with an annual return of around 10%, in 10 years, he would have $700,000. And in 15 years, over $1,200,000. And the best part, even if he decided to stop working at 50, he would have enough money to live comfortably. His assets, funds, and digital business gave him a passive income of over $6,000 per month. But what really defined this phase wasn't the money. It was a feeling of control. Raphael could choose where to work, how long to take vacations, how to educate his kids, and where to live. He was no longer a slave to the paycheck or the bills. At the same time, many childhood friends were still stuck in phase 1, surviving off debt. With no savings, no plan, thinking that financial redemption was only for the rich. Freedom is not some magical destination. It's a daily construction. It requires patience, but it rewards you with something priceless, peace of mind. And when you reach it, you understand that money was never the goal. It's just a tool that gives you the right to live life on your own terms. But before concluding, I'll show you a powerful comparison between someone who advances through the phases and someone who doesn't. At 38, Raphael was at peace. He had freedom, options, and security. But a meeting with an old school friend, Douglas, highlighted the contrast between two very different paths. Douglas had earned well, always had good jobs, but never left the survival phase. He changed his phone every year, lived in an expensive apartment, dined out often, financed vacations, and flaunted it all on social media. That day, Douglas confided that he had $60,000 in debt, no emergency fund, and 2 maxed-out credit cards. On the outside, he looked successful, but on the inside, he lived in silent chaos. Meanwhile, Raphael, who had always lived simply and strategically, had already passed $1 million in investments.